Japan used to be considered the mecca of tech, and while it's still among the leaders in the industry, things have definitely changed in the past few decades. With smartphones being arguably the most universally sought-after gadget currently in existence, you'd expect Japanese companies to hold a pretty strong position in the market. That's not exactly the case, however, with Sony being the sole exception. But does that mean that Japan's finest have little to offer to consumers? We went through our own records, Japanese telecom listings, and manufacturers' own websites before arriving at the 5 very best Japanese smartphones currently on the market. This is Chris with PhoneArena. Let's see who they are. Fifth on our list today is the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact, and its spot is more than deserved. Without a doubt, the Z3 Compact is the only really high-end compact device on the planet. It's got a very compact body for its 4.6-inch display, a powerful quad-core Snapdragon 801 processor, 2 GB of RAM, and an excellent 20.7 megapixel camera. Its 2600 mAh battery is also pretty impressive, having managed the awesome 10 hours and 2 minutes on our custom battery benchmark. We quite enjoy sharp edges design and the small bezels it has learned to work with, but the Acer Crystal X, which is the larger brother of the Acer Crystal, is well deserving of its high spot in this ranking nevertheless. Unlike the Crystal X is a high-end device with a big 5.5-inch 1080p display, a quad-core Snapdragon 801 chipset, 2 GB of RAM, and a 13-megapixel camera. The handset also features Harman Kardon sound and a 2610 mAh battery. Fujitsu's current top-of-the-line model is no other than the octagonal Acer NX F0G, and it takes the bronze in today's ranking. While the device's design may not be everybody's cup of tea, the specs packed within certainly won't disappoint. The IP58 certified Acer NX sports a 5.2-inch IPS display with a Quad HD resolution and is powered by a quad-core Snapdragon 801 processor and a generous 3 GB of RAM. Also on board is a Sony-made Exmor RS sensor with 20.7 megapixel and a giant 3500 mAh cell that the company claims is good for up to 3 days of usage. To round off the package, Fujitsu has also included a dedicated infrared blaster for control over home electronics and a swipe-type fingerprint scanner. It felt like days only had passed when Sony updated on its flagship vision with the Xperia Z3, 6 short months after the Z2. The successor to the Z2 brought down the thickness to only 0.29 inches while sacrificing essentially nothing in terms of the hardware stack. We again have a 5.2-inch 1080p resolution display, a quad-core Snapdragon 801 processor and 3 GB of RAM, a resilient 3010 mAh battery, and of course Sony's signature 20.7 megapixel shooter. Like pretty much all Japanese devices, the Z3 is also IP certified, so it's quite resistant to both water and dust. We will admit that putting the LG Sai VL in the #1 spot wasn't an easy decision, especially with Sony's Xperia Z3 lurking just around the corner, but ultimately we just like the Sai more. We first heard of the KDDI branded LG Mate Sai before the LG G3 was released, and speculation was heavy that this is how the G3 was bound to look like. Not only that, but the spec sheet of the Sai read exactly like what we were expecting from the G3. In other words, it's got some pretty sick hardware on board, including a 5.5-inch Quad HD display, a quad-core Snapdragon 801 processor, 3 GB of RAM, and a 13.2 megapixel camera with a laser autofocus assist system in place and a 3000 mAh battery. The LG Sai VL, like the G3, also has its volume rocker on the back, but its power key is located on the right. And with that, we conclude our list. This was Chris with PhoneArena. Thank you guys for watching.